Hey everybody! Imagine if you could learn from kings and queens how to radiate with confidence, align with your inner purpose, and start living a life of potential, opportunity, and abundance. On the Yes She Talks with Maria Gerlando talk show, I'm going to be inviting a leader in their industry to come on, share their hardships and obstacles with you, and more importantly, how they overcame these obstacles to step into the life of their dreams. We're going to be talking about self-care, morning and night routines, and everything in between to help you start to radiate and step into the life of your dreams too. If you want to learn how to build confidence, start living life alive and aligned with your inner purpose, and start aligning with your royal identity, then keep on watching. And trust me, we're not just talking about pageants here. Enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yes She Talks. I am your host, Maria Gerlando, and I'm here with my good friend, Stephanie Hubert.
Hi.
Round of applause for Steph. Steph has been a good friend of mine for, I want to say, about 3 years now, since we competed at the Miss Canada 2018 competition. And we've honestly just always gravitated towards each other, and we've traveled together. And now I'm really excited to have you on this little podcast talk show series that I have here. Steph, just kind of give everyone a little introductory about who you are.
Well, thank you for having me on the first episode. I'm very, very excited to do this. So as for me, I'm Steph. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I have my own documentary series called The Vision and Representation, and I'm just passionate about pageants. It's a great hobby that I like to do.
And you're competing in the upcoming Miss Galaxy Canada 2021 pageant. It'll be this time next year, which is really exciting. And I'm just going to keep like tooting your own horn. Stephanie was Miss Quebec 2006, Miss Teen Quebec 2016.
Yes.
Perfect, 2016. And you were also first runner-up at Miss Teen Canada, where we met.
Yes.
And we also competed internationally together. Oh my gosh, the stories go on and on. So we've traveled to Vegas together. We've traveled to Vancouver together. So overall, we've really transcended our friendship out of pageantry and into each other's lives. And that's like really important to me. And I cherish having you around and having you be on this talk show series, Yes She Talks. The whole goal of what this talk show is going to be about is to really inspire confidence, help others align with their purpose, kind of give our own stories of overcoming challenges and how we stepped into our royal identity, not only as pageant queens, but as women in our daily lives. And obviously, through being a great friend of yours, I've known how you're able to do that. I've seen tremendous growth of yours over the last couple of years, and you're only, what, 21, 22?
21, yeah.
you're just starting. Like when I was 21, I just started pageants. I just won my first title. It was a local title. So just incredible opportunity for you.
Thank you. I already see so much growth in myself. I mean, coming out of pageants is it's crazy how much you can meet people, how much you can grow on yourself, know yourself, and become a lot more confident. I really liked doing that.
I know, right? And this is not just all about pageants too. Like obviously, like I love pageants. I'm a pageant gal. That's what it's always going to be for me. But we're going to definitely talk about the things that we do and have overcome in our daily lives. And hopefully, whoever you are, wherever you're watching, you can take something from our experiences, learn and grow from it. So Steph, what we're going to start off with is what I've seen before in I want to say it's the Team Never Quit podcast. It's called the Mad Minute. So I have a series of questions here that are just kind of this or that style, just for you to get loosened up, have the audience get to know you a little bit better. And it's just kind of a fun way to start off this kind of interview conversation we're going to have, okay?
Perfect. I'm excited. Let's start.
Okay, so they're very basic questions. I will get more interesting ones another time.
Okay, do I need to say because or just answer?
Oh, just answer. If you want to kind of add a little, you totally can.
Awesome.
Okay, so to start, would you prefer a salty snack or a sweet snack?
Usually salty. I love cheese.
See, that's right, I knew that. Interesting one for you, being a filmmaker. Would you rather read the book or see the movie?
Ooh, it's a hard one because I love reading too. I think movie.
You're like, don't make me pick. Would you rather have your hair done or your makeup done?
Makeup. I love having my makeup done.
Awesome. Would you rather travel by road trip or by plane?
Road trip.
And for the last question, would you rather have the crown or the sash?
Sash.
You can say both. Like, this is not a pageant
Okay,
interview.
okay, okay. I was like,
both.
no, it's true. But I was like, like I don't know. I mean, both are great, but I think the sash is cool because you can just wear it around everywhere, and it kind of just proves it that you want. I mean, yes, the crown too, but I don't know. For me, I had to give my crown away for my first pageant, so for me, it was never that big of a deal. The crown was more the sash because I kept wearing it 5 years later. So it's just I just like the sash. You know, it just says your name. It's like definitive, you know?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I love that. And I feel like I go back and forth because like, you know, other places kind of have banners or things to justify like who you are, but crowns are really only in pageants. That's like the one kind of true marker of a pageant is the crown, which is why I love it. I don't think you would have to like take off one of my arms for me to answer that, but love those answers. I hope everyone got to enjoy getting to know you a little bit better. And of course, like me and you can talk back and forth all day long, but let's actually get into something that'll help our audience. So for those of you who do not know, and obviously Stephanie knows, you were one of the first people to actually know that I was going to be competing for Miss World Canada 2020.
It was so exciting.
Miss World Canada, exactly. I was like, girl, like don't tell anyone, but like this. And then like a couple weeks later, I told everyone anyways. But for Miss World Canada, it's so important, and even in pageants, that we have a beauty with a purpose. And this is also what you might call a pageant platform, an organization you want to represent, or a cause or movement of some kind that you want to be promoting if you win. And so something that I've been promoting in my daily life, in my business, through volunteering, is this concept of living life alive. Really living life like you are awake and aware of each day and the blessings and opportunities around you. I only just kind of coined this term or phrase in the last couple of months, but I've just really fallen in love with the saying and the term. So Steph, to you, what does the term live life alive mean?
I think it means to live life at the fullest. It's to try as many opportunities that you want to take and just be proud of your own accomplishments. You know, a lot of people that I interview sometimes, they tell me, well, I didn't do anything great in my life. And I'm like, that's not true. Everyone does something great. You just need to recognize it. And once you recognize it, I think that's when you can live life alive. That's when you can feel good about yourself, that you are worthy and that you can do pretty much anything, right?
Exactly. And that's one thing I tell my pageant clients, my coaching clients to do is I always give them a task depending on like where they're at in their life. I either tell them write out 50 or 100 accomplishments. They can be anything from when you started walking to graduating high school to starting a business, whatever that is for you, write them out. And I cannot believe how many girls are like, oh, well, I haven't done that much. And, oh, you know, like they list like the top maybe 5 or 10 things. But because when you're living life kind of on autopilot and unaware of what you've done, you don't consider little things like graduating grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4 as being accomplishments. But they are, because you know what? Not everyone does do those things. So yeah, living life alive every single day, it's a practice. And then overall looking back at your life to say, did I live or did I just go through each day? Mm-hmm. Now, exactly. And sorry if I cut you off. That's just like, I'm a talker. That's why this is called Yes, She Talks with Maria Gerlando, because let's be real, I don't stop.
It's okay. I talk too, and I'll probably cut you off too, so it happens. I feel like that's how we understand each other. We gravitate over because we're like so similar in that way.
This is so true. And it's funny because when we were competing, I love sharing this story. When we were competing for Miss, Steph was competing for Miss Teen Canada. I was competing for Miss World Canada. At the orientation, where all of the teens and Miss contestants were together, we were kind of sitting in a couple different groups. Me and Steph were together, like firing off interview questions to all these girls, like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Where are you from?
We were ready.
Like both of us were going back and forth as if we like ran the show or something, but we were just both so excited. And that's just, at that moment, I was like, this is my kind of girl.
It's so true. And I was so happy to like gravitate it towards, you know, before you compete, you watch the other contestants and you try to see, okay, who do I really like? And I was like, I instantly liked your profile right away. I was like, wow, I really like this girl. And once I met you, I was like, I hope she lives up to my expectations, you know? And then right when I met you, I was like, yes, she's amazing. I absolutely loved her. And I think that's why we like clicked so much during the week, that we like chatted so much, that we, you know, let people, all the other girls talk with us and be invited by that. And yeah, I think that's why we work so well in going to Vancouver and Las Vegas. I mean, I just loved that.
And there's going to be more. There's more coming. We haven't
Oh, I know.
planned it out yet. Mm-hmm.
I'll come to Windsor soon for sure.
This is something you're going to do. This is for sure.
For sure.
Okay, so going back to this concept of living life alive, and like, what does it mean for our viewers, obviously here? There are things that you can do each day to kind of tap into this potential, tap into this self-awareness and this feeling like you are present in each moment. So Steph, what are some things that you do in your daily life to kind of tap into this, tune into this confidence, this inner unspoken confidence that you have that makes you live life to the fullest?
I think it's just to do things that I love, take that time for myself. I really like to go walk in the woods. I have the woods right next to me, and go walk with my dogs and just think, you know, think about random things, how I feel about certain things, politics, whatever is happening around the world, and just think while my dogs are running out in the woods, and breathe, take in the air. I'm a strong believer that nature really helps with a good mental health, and I think not a lot of people recognize that and use that into their daily lives. So as much as I can, if it's not raining, I like to go walk and just appreciate nature.
And trust me, every day in the winter, every day it is snowing and it's cold and it's just too cold to bear going outside. I think every day I'm like, okay, when the temperature gets to this, like I'm outside. I'm outside every day. And like, I don't take a bit of summer weather for granted, spring weather, because they are far and few between. And you know, it's not until you get in that mindset and realize how important being outside in nature is every day to just your own wellness, that you don't appreciate these times as much as you do. And then when the winter comes, again, you're kind of in that moment of like, oh, well, I don't like the cold. And then summer comes and it's like, oh, well, what am I going to do? And it's like, well, just go outside because you can,
Well, even
like,
having that mentality of, hey, I'm going to change that mentality of you with winter, you need to just dress up, put a nice coat on, put some, if you're cold with your legs, just put some, you know, those ugly pants, you know, those snow pants. You have to just let it go and go, well, literally let it go and sing the song Let It Go, so that you sound like Elsa, and appreciate also nature in the winter, because we're one of the lucky countries that gets to have that. Same thing with the fall. We're one of the only countries in the world that gets to change the leaves every season. Well, every, like, you know, in the fall it goes to red, yellow, green. It's just, we have such an impressive nature, and like even in the winter, I think we really need to appreciate that. That's why whenever it snows, I'm like, yay, snow day, let's hope that I don't have school.
and I will say that was definitely a mindset that I took maybe 4 years ago, where I was like, okay, like summer, like that'll be my time, like that'll be my time to shine. It also just happened to be the year that, or the time of year that I kind of really felt me. But now obviously, like I find different activities I enjoy around the year. Like I love being able to spend time indoors, like, you know, having like those cozy, like cocoa cookies, like totally Christmas Day kind of idea throughout the winter. But obviously when you're not aware of living life alive and really enjoying each day, each season, whatever the weather is like outside, it's almost like, well, where do you start? And so that's just one way. If it's nice outside, go outside and enjoy it. Take a walk with your dogs, or, you know, as you did not disclose, your horses, because
Yeah.
not everyone has horses in their backyard.
That's true. Or just, I like to just sit down outside, take in the sun, and just have a tea, or like an iced tea if it's summer, or just something to just enjoy outside, right?
Exactly. And so, you know, we've all gone through things in our life. It's not like I preach confidence, yes, and I preach self-awareness and self-reflection, but there are still days and moments where I feel down and I don't feel like myself. And for you, was there ever a time that you didn't feel like yourself and you didn't feel confident and like you were living life alive? And what did that kind of look like for you?
Well, there's always going to be days, like you said, that's just not going to be great. I mean, it can be everything. It could be like some days where I'm going to be like, I feel fat. I don't feel like I'm attractive. Or it can be so many different kinds of things. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with the people around me, but it's just sometimes I feel like that. But I think of time where it was repeatedly every single day that I felt like that was in a time where I had a depression. And that was in Sec 2 for here, or 8th grade for the rest of Canada.
I was like, did I just forget English? What?
No, no. Secondary too, which is like right after elementary, we have secondary, but that's like 8th grade for the rest of Canada. And so I was just not in the right place. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't feel like I deserved anything. And it was just a very low point for me. And it had come from being bullied for a really long time in elementary school, and just being told every single day that I wasn't good enough. I didn't have good grades. People would laugh at me, and I would often be the one in trouble for these things and not really the people laughing at me for it. And the school that I had applied to afterwards had heard of my story and put me on the top of the list so that the first person that would leave would be able to put me in, because I was being beat up every day. I was having people being extremely mean to me, and I still have scars on my body related to that. And so once I went into high school, once they accepted me and they got me in right away when they could, it was hard for me to make friends still, because I had never really had the time to trust people. I never had that moment where I felt good with some friends. So I was in that point where I just felt like I didn't belong. And so it came to a point where the people that I was hanging out with was telling me that I was starting to make weird remarks, like saying, if I wouldn't be there, no one would notice. And I was starting to have those suicidal comments that were very worrying for the people I was hanging out with. So they decided to talk to the therapist of the school and tell them, well, she's not feeling well. And I didn't want to go to the therapist. I felt like I didn't need to. I was fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
we all are. Yeah, we're always fine. Yeah.
It's always like, I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want people to see me that way. And so they even had to pull me out of class to go to the therapist, because I didn't go to the first appointments. And the therapist literally went in front of the whole class, said, Steph, I need you to come with me. And it was so embarrassing that I never, ever waited again. But it shouldn't have been embarrassing, you know? It's important to talk to someone about your problems. And if it's not your friends, then sometimes it's good to talk to a stranger, you know?
Of course. And it's crazy because I've heard your story before, but it just like strikes a chord with me in a different way, like the different details that come out and the different things that come up when you are sharing it. And it's still, it just amazes me, because throughout that time, what you didn't realize is that you were building armor, you know, like each physical insult, each, you know, mental, emotional comment that people would say to you, you were building up this armor, and now it's manifested in so many ways. And I'm always just, I'm not about revenge, okay? I'm not a bitter kind of gal, but like all those people, like I want them to eat it, like eat their words. And I hope that they are like much kinder. I hope that they do not suffer from their own insecurities to put someone else down. But like when I first met you, like none of that was there. It was only just like this armor of confidence and this young woman who just wanted to like be friends with everyone. You know, like you would have never thought that kind of girl, like the things that you were experiencing, was then the one kind of running the conversation at a pageant, something that already brings up so many nerves, and where girls are just anxious and worried and being judged. Like it really has just built you up to be the person that you are today. As cheesy as that sounds, I know.
But it's not cheesy, it's the truth. I mean, I didn't think I would become this person. I didn't think I would ever end up being who I am today. And if I wouldn't have gotten that help, I mean, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't be here today, and maybe I wouldn't have had a pageant or anything. I mean, I think it's that whole process that puts you to who I am today. But it's also this armor that you're talking about. I think that's really important that you mentioned that, because I still have trouble making friends. Like, yeah, it's easy for me now to go to people, but to actually maintain friendships is very difficult for me, because I don't know who I can still trust. And if someone betrays me on something, I automatically cut the links. And it's not because I want to, it's because I need to. I need that defense mechanism for myself, which is very difficult to deal with sometimes, because sometimes it can even be with like a relationship, a boyfriend, and you know, we have fights, it's normal, but sometimes I just close off and I can't get through it, you know?
No, of course. And I will say, even though, I mean, I'm very blessed in the sense that I wasn't consistently bullied throughout high school. Like, obviously, I had one or two peers that were just not about me at all. but I still had trouble making friends growing up as well. And I've had trouble keeping friends, just like you said. But obviously, there's just something in both of us that means well and that wants to be a good friend, who wants to be surrounded by other like-minded people. And that's why I'm sure we've gravitated towards each other. And, you know, one thing that you mentioned is, you know, your therapist walked in and you were like, oh my gosh, this dude is not doing this. Like, does he? Come on, teenage girl, like this is like the most taboo thing that you can do. The words therapist, therapy, mental health were still like, even back, you know, 5-6 years ago when we were both in high school, like it was just so not talked about then. And even now that stigma is still around. So you meet with your therapist. What are some things that you started doing, like you yourself, that changed that mindset, that slowly started to rewrite the script of who you wanted to be and who you wanted to show up as?
Well, I think it all started the first times where I just didn't want to talk about myself. I didn't see anything special about me, or, I mean, I didn't have anything to say, right? I felt like I had nothing important. So it was just about, she was telling me how I should just write one positive thing every single day. And I thought that was dumb. I'm going to be honest. I really didn't think it was important for me. And, you know, how it would work, I would meet with her once a week and I would write down the whole days of the week, something positive, something random that would happen, which was not true because I was just making things up, right? So until the time where I wanted to be with the popular kids, right? And so I met people that in my art class, like when I remember it was in the art class, there was one of the popular girls that invited me to have lunch with them because I had started a rumor, and it was a mean rumor about someone in that same group. And so I was able to have lunch with them, and I felt like I had succeeded. I was getting towards fame, or whatever that means, right? And so right at that lunchtime, I was having fun conversing with new people. And so the girl that I had made that rumor about it had heard that I had started it. And what comes around always comes back around. And she screamed at me and said like I was a horrible person, etc., etc. And that was my lowest point. It was my rock bottom, let's say, because I literally blacked out at that moment. I felt like I just didn't know how to react to that. You know, I thought I had succeeded, but I had done something extremely wrong to get there. And so I just remember being in the infirmary, and they had said that they had called my parents to come get me because I couldn't function anymore. I was in a very shocked mode. And so I was like, no, you can't tell my parents. Like, my parents can't know that I'm like this, right? And that's the moment I decided I cannot be like this. Not just because I didn't want my parents to, have a broken child as I saw it, and not just because of that, but because I was seeing how much I was hurt, how much I was lost. And I really think I needed that moment to be able to grow later on, because that's when I decided to actually do those exercises, those positive exercises. That same day was when I started writing things down that were positive. And that day was difficult to find something, but I that was when I started, And then little by little, it started being 2 things, 3 things, and then I came to a point where I didn't really need it anymore, and my therapist told me you should try new things, and that's where I am at today.
Crazy how that just kind of comes around. And one thing that I'll say that I often, not often, but mentoring many girls, one thing that I hear consistently is, oh, well, I need to hit rock bottom. Like, I need to hit rock bottom and then I'll turn my life around. Yeah. Why do you think that, especially young women, men, have this mentality that you have to get it to be like the worst of the worst before you change? Like, why can't we just do the things that we know are tried and true? Yes, sometimes they're silly, but why can't we just do those things that we know are going to be good for us, that we know are going to help us, that we know, therapists, like these people with degrees and masters and a whole boatload of education are telling us this will work, do this. Why do we reject this kind of thinking?
I think it's because we don't believe it at first, I feel like it's just so hard to believe that you can be helped into this world, that things can happen, that things can be good, when there's so many bad things happening around you and you feel like nothing will get better. I think it's really hard to see that until you're at the point where you cannot help yourself anymore. You feel like you cannot do anything better. So it's hard to explain it, but I really think it's because like people don't believe it. But if you just have the right person let you believe it, and it doesn't take much, but sometimes it could be like your mom or your dad or even a coach or a therapist sometimes will help you believe it. And I don't know how you can help someone believe that. And I think it's more like you need to let people talk to you. You need to hear them out, you know?
Yeah, and of course, and I always say, like, if I was 18 or 19, hearing the things, because for those of you who do not know, when I kind of had my own life and mental transformation, I had a mentor who was a woman that I worked with, and she also happened to be a therapist, coincidentally. And that was when I was 21 years old. Had I met her and had I been working alongside her and kind of learning and growing and really transforming my own mind, if had I learned that at 18 or 19 years old, I probably would have been like, I need to like switch assignments. Like, I should not be, like, this woman has no idea what she's talking about. I probably just was too immature to understand that at that time. I'll never know now. But the whole idea was that I needed to hear it at that time, or if it was planted as a seed in my mind, like there was a certain time that it started to grow. Because sometimes when you hear something one time based on the person who's telling it to you, it just doesn't quite click. But there are then, you know, just certain people who you are truly inspired and moved by, that they say anything and you are like, I'm doing that. All right.
That's
like,
so true.
and it's just based on human connection, right? Like, if my parents tell me to do something, I'm going to be like, okay. But if I like read it in a book, I'm like, oh, the book says it, the author said it, so I'm going to go do that thing. Like, it's a curse and a blessing all at once, pretty much is what I'm saying. But yeah, so that's especially why I show up on social media. My goal isn't to transform a life in one day, but all I know is that if I can plant the seed right now into the young minds of, you know, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, I hope that it'll start to grow so that by the time that they're 21, they're not just figuring out who they are. It can start much, much sooner. And obviously you were lucky that you had friends who looked out for you at that time, who, you know, in hindsight, you were probably like, I'm going to kill you all at the time, but it ended up becoming more for you.
Mm-hmm. And I still talk to the friend that was the main friend. She's called Catherine, and I still talk to her sometimes. And she went through a similar phase as well. She went through something like that later on in life. And it was important to me to be there for her as well, because she was there for me at that time. And I really thought it was really important to help her then too.
Yeah, and I think a really important message right now too is just to say, like, it's so important to protect yourself and your circle. Like, know who you want to keep around you in your space, because what we don't understand is that our presence is so valuable. And other people's presence is valuable too, but who you surround yourself with is vital to who you are as a person. And don't just give away your space, your time to anybody because you want to be accepted or because you want a friend. Like, there were many days that many days, weeks, months that I didn't have friends or people to talk to. But in my mind, I don't know why, but I would just tell myself, you know what, friends will come. It's okay. Like, right now I'm being me. I'm working on myself internally. The friends will come, but I would rather be by myself and learn about myself a little bit more rather than surround myself with people who aren't about me. Like, especially being 25, like, I've had people come and go that I just realized I want to surround myself with people who love and want to support me and who are positive and who are just growth minded. Like, I don't want to be around people who complain, who are negative, who are draining. Like, not that that's not part of, like, you know, being a friend to somebody, but when it's like embedded in your foundation, like, that's just not what I want. And I would rather hang out with my sister or my boyfriend rather than surround myself with someone who's going to bring me down, never mind like bully me and put me down in that kind of way.
That's true. That's true. But sometimes, like, the people that have negativity in their lives, maybe that they don't necessarily feel good about themselves, right? And sometimes I think they just need that leg up. And if they choose not to take it, well, then too bad for them. But I think sometimes it's hard to be always positive and always be the great person that you are. I mean, sometimes, ask my boyfriend, I'm so negative sometimes. Like, there's days like that, you know, there's days that it's going to be like that. But I think sometimes when you can just give them that little boost of confidence that they need, that little, like I said, like, leg up, it can really help them, you know, turn that penny upside down or upside up or whatever you want to call it. And, you know, just feel better about themselves a little bit.
And I will say my family is hot on me for that. Like, because I've just been known as the person over the last couple of years who's so positive and inspirational, anytime I'm out of line and I want to complain about something or say something negative, like they are like, Maria, like that's not very positive of you. And I'm like, okay, I know, I just wanted to express myself, but I understand where they're coming from. So I really did condition the people around me to like keep me on my best game and on my word. So
That's really good. I love that story. Thank you for sharing that.
oh yeah, trust me, they do. They don't miss an opportunity. So got to be very selective.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to ask you now, if you could talk to yourself in that moment, whether it be when you had that really, emotionally transformational, that kind of blackout moment that you said, or even before then, if you could talk to yourself one-on-one, what would you say, knowing what you know now?
I'd say like hang on tight, you'll be okay. You're gonna be fine, you're gonna do great things, even though you don't believe it now. And your parents are gonna support you. They're gonna be okay. They're gonna be okay to know about something that is going wrong with you. And in fact, you're gonna feel happy that you talk about it with them. And it might be hard on the first time that you just really share it with them, but it's gonna get much better and you're gonna have a even closer relationship with them in the end.
That's really sweet. Oh my gosh. I don't think we can even like top that in any way, but that's just, it's so true. It's almost like when I think about, and what I want you to do as well, like when you think about each day and like not wanting to do something, like having that lack of motivation, give yourself that piece of advice too.
Yeah.
Like remind yourself that there are, young girls who are in your same position right now that need to hear you saying that message. And this is what I try to tell people all the time, like that's what you need to be sharing. Like, yes, I'm sure your breakfast was delicious, or yes, your selfie looks beautiful, but like you also got to speak from your heart, because you don't realize that that's when we connect and that's when we inspire others. And like you just said earlier, I might not be the one to give someone that piece of information or advice that's going to change their life, but maybe you can, because maybe you connect with them more than I do. And that's why they would need to hear it from you.
Yeah, I think everyone has that little piece. Like, I don't want to think anybody has, how do I want to say this? I don't think people recognize that in themselves, the power that they have, that they can help someone else. And, some people think like, well, I'm just me. Like, no one wants any advice from me or I'm not inspirational. I'm not someone special. And I think that's totally wrong. Like, my friend was absolutely amazing just to have done that little small step to help me. And it didn't take much, right? And you don't need to be a supermodel or a pageant person or a president or whatever you want to call it to do something great and to change someone's life.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I'm still working on too. Like, I don't think people know me. Like, I just don't know how people would know about me or know who I am. So, funny story, I was messaging this designer for a sponsorship the other day, and I sent an email versus a DM because I wanted to be professional. And I said, hi, my name is Maria. I'm the pageant gal on Instagram, yada, yada, yada. This is what I'm looking for. And one of the designers DM'd me. He's like, hey, Maria, yeah, no problem. Let's message here. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, they know who I am. Like, it's not that far off, or like I don't think of myself in that kind of way, and that's always been what I've been like. And now I'm like really every day just reminding myself, like, be you, girl. Like, there's no issues of like being yourself or like who knows you or not. Obviously that's still the preferred way, I would say, to reach out to sponsors through email, especially if you don't know if these people know you. But it's just that little thing each day that reminds me, like, oh yeah, like I have made an impact. I have put myself out there, and people not just know who I am, but they've heard my words, they've heard my message, and that means more to me than just having people know who I am, if that makes sense.
That's true.
Okay, and then one last question for you, Steph. So obviously you kind of gave some wisdom, now. What is one thing that you would just want to tell whoever is watching, again, wherever they are, how they can be confident right after they watch this? Like, what is something that they can do to shift confidence into their mindset, into their lifestyle, so that they can start living life alive?
I think the first thing you need to do is try new things. You need to, for me, the first thing I tried was doing cheerleading, which was the opposite of how I felt at that time. And ironic, right? And it was the first time I actually felt worthy, because if you're in a pyramid and you're there holding a foot, you can't not be there. You need to be present to make the whole pyramid stand, no matter where you are in the pyramid. So it really made me feel like I mattered for the first time in a long time. And then afterwards, I got into pageantry, and I felt that even more amplified. And each pageant I was doing, it made me feel more like that. And it's not just by doing it, but it's by recognizing that I was making a difference. So whenever you do something, whenever you try something new, recognize how you are accomplishing it, how you are doing something. I mean, for cheerleading, you're lifting someone in the air. Recognize that every single time you're doing it, because it's incredible. It's already super incredible what you're doing. And whether it is writing an assignment, doing an essay, don't tell yourself you're going to fail. Tell yourself, I'm going to succeed because I did my very best. And don't let yourself be that person that's going to be like, I'm not going to try my best because it's only 5%. I don't care. Do your very best every single time. And you're going to get so proud of yourself and get to that confidence mark that is just amazing, that you're just going to feel very good about yourself. And I think I want to give that to every single person if I can. You know, I wish everyone can feel that amount of confidence and go through life that way.
Of course. And that's one thing that I mentioned in the fundamentals of pageantry course that you were, of course, in, is that when you try something new, first of all, you're already having the confidence to put yourself out there, to learn something new, to find out something about yourself, to possibly interact with other people. So that already, as uncomfortable as it is going to build a bigger sense of self-confidence and self-awareness in who you are. And then when you accomplish that, when you finish it, if it's a course, cheerleading, whatever it might be, then you're either going to say to yourself, I really like that, I'm going to do it again. Or you know what? Cool experience, did it, not my thing, gonna move on to something new. You're so much more likely to try other things because even just trying is more than what most people do. And I think that's why I've had a really good foundation in my own life, feeling like I've always been a confident person, always, ever since I was little. But I remember in like, I want to say I must have been like 10 years old, maybe 11, I'd asked my parents to do this basketball camp. I didn't know anyone. Maybe I knew one person from my school, but like your girl had no business doing a basketball camp, like no business. But apparently I wanted to do that and my parents were supportive and they said, okay, like you can go to basketball camp.
So being 5'2", right?
I wasn't 5'2" then, I was much shorter then. But that was the whole thing. It was just that I've always just had this spirit of trying things. And you know what, even though I'm not a basketball player today and I've never made a basket in a game, it's something that's really helped define who I am. And I would rather try something and not like it, or try something and fail at it, rather than not try at all, because it is really where you begin to find who you are. So try again at different things, and you'd be surprised at how it kind of shapes and develops the person that you are.
100%. I fully agree with you on that.
Steph, I have just loved having you on this. Like, I knew it was going to be fun, and what people don't see is that we just had like 10 minutes of technical chaos. It was like my color in my screen was blinking. Steph was like, wait, I'm gonna go outside. And then like we had dogs and I had like parents coming home. So you don't see all the behind the scenes stuff. But overall, this has just been a joy. And I really do think that maybe even not right now, but I think that as you know, this video hopefully goes around years from now, that it's going to keep impacting someone somewhere at some point in their life to realize that it's okay, first of all, to hit rock bottom. It's okay to go see a therapist, and that sometimes doing the little things like going for a walk in nature, writing down something positive about the day, how impactful that can be. And then of course, try new things. Like, don't be afraid to try new things. And one of the quotes I just read by Will Smith is that if you're afraid to do it, just do it scared. Because it's like, just, it doesn't matter. Like, the fear is in your head. So just do it anyways and surprise yourself.
That's very true. I love that. I'm going to keep that into my head somewhere.
Wisdom, spitting it all out here. I'm like, I hope I have more for next week's video chat, but either way, like I said, Steph, thank you for being my very first guest on the Yes She Talks with Maria Gerlando and Stephanie Hubert. Steph, if anybody wanted to connect with you, if they wanted to, watch a little bit of your own documentary series, just kind of give some shout outs of your links. Where can people find you at?
Definitely. So my documentary series is called Vision Representation. If you're interested in sharing your own story, definitely message me at Vision of Representation on Instagram or on my Facebook page or at my Instagram, which is Steph Hubert. So that's where am I at. And basically my whole platform is to have a place for people to share their stories, for people to kind of say who they are, their passions, their opinions, and for viewers to kind of break the stereotypes they have about those kinds of groups and kind of relate to those people, right?
Of course, and I'm always like Stephanie Hubert, like like I'm really trying to say it, but you say it much better yourself.
Well,
and
of course,
another
my
disclaimer.
name, I hope so.
Another disclaimer is that don't expect this video to be edited like Steph's. Steph is the editing queen. She's the producing queen. She has a fantastic documentary series that I'm so inspired by it. And that was kind of one of the inspirational points of me starting this kind of talk show style series. So thank you so much for that and everything you do. And from the bottom of my heart, I'm going to keep cheering you on for Miss Galaxy Canada 2020. And I'm just like a huge Steph fan every day, either way. Like whatever that is for you, I'm cheering you on, just like you cheer other people on through cheerleading.
Yes, I still do that, which is absolutely amazing.
Hoorah, rah, rah.
I'm not the best, but at least I try, right? I'm not a good anything, but I enjoy it.
Cheer comes from the spirit. Cheers comes from the spirit, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
I approve of this message. Okay, Steph, thanks so much again for being on. Thank you to all of the viewers. Again, I'll try and leave Steph's links down below so you can go and follow her. Again, if you want to see more of the Yes She Talks series with myself, Maria Gerlando, I'm going to be hopefully doing interviews and posting them every week so that you can continue to build confidence, align with your purpose, and live life alive. Thanks so much and have a great day, everyone. Bye.